Apple just reported its Q3 2019 results, and it was their highest June quarter ever. The most amount of revenue Apple has ever generated in their lifetime in the month of June. And you know what that means? They're super doomed. Apple's dead. Might as well sell all your stocks, people, because this company's on a downhill trend. No, but aside from that, there was actually some significant milestones made in these reports, and I wanted to give you my feedback on them. So here we go. So I won't go into all the specific numbers today. I'll just cover it mostly by saying iPhone sales are still weakening, but it doesn't really matter that much because of how good all of the other parts of Apple are doing, specifically with two big categories, that being wearables and services. The significant milestone made in the Q3 report is that for the first time in 7 years, the iPhone sales are not the bulk of the revenue generated by Apple anymore. This is a huge concern people have had with Apple for a long time because if you look at their past, it's very easy to say a very large majority of Apple's revenue strictly comes just from iPhone sales. So as soon as iPhone sales start going down, or as soon as the iPhone 11 or the iPhone 7 or whatever iPhone comes out that year doesn't sell very well or doesn't excite people very much, you could see weak sales and be like, oh, big problem. Apple's in trouble now because their primary source of revenue is bleeding and it's going downhill, so that means the company's going to die. Now, granted, the iPhone sales are still the largest chunk of the pie at 48%. All of the other sections of Apple have finally surpassed that, meaning that thanks to services, which is the second biggest piece of the pie, Apple now has a more reliable, consistent income likely from here on out, and we have every reason to believe that that services sector is only going to increase with the launch of the Apple Card in just a few weeks. Apple TV Plus is coming. That could flop though, so don't count too much on that one. Apple Arcade could potentially do pretty well if they play their cards right and price it fairly, and the wearables section is definitely where Apple is shining very greatly right now as well. AirPods are super duper popular, as is the Apple Watch, becoming the #1 watch in the world. AirPods being the most popular wireless earbuds on the market. That's likely only going to increase given we're at least getting the Apple Watch Series 5 next month, or potentially we don't get a Series 5. I still think this is possible. They may not release a new Apple Watch and just lower the price of the Apple Watch Series 4, maybe offer it in a few extra colors, because the Series 4 was such a major upgrade. It would make total sense to me if they can't warrant a full number upgrade this year. Either way though, whether or not a Series 5 comes out or the Series 4 gets cheaper, the Apple Watch is still the king in the smartwatch department and will likely continue to be once the prices are lowered or a new model comes out and more people upgrade to it. And there's also good chances of new AirPods coming out next month as well. The third generation, there's rumored to be a Pro design and a basic design. We don't know for sure, but either way, the wearables market is going to continue to grow, and the services, is monthly charges, people paying monthly for subscriptions, is much more consistent income than the iPhone sales, because usually, unless you're in the iPhone upgrade program, you upgrade your phone once every 3 years on average now, and that number is increasing. That's the reason the majority of iPhone sales have been going down, isn't because competition is taking over those upgrades. For the most part, it's people not seeing a need to upgrade their iPhone because it's 3-4 years old, still getting iOS updates, still running fine, so there's not really a need to go out and buy a new phone as much as there used to be. We're kind of reaching law of diminishing returns when it comes to new iPhone upgrades, which is why, yeah, you should not expect the iPhone 11 to sell extremely well, but given the new quarterly report that iPhone sales are no longer the majority of revenue, that means that Apple can afford for iPhone sales to go down a little bit more over time now. In the past, this may have been a bigger issue, but as services and wearables, and even the iPad and Mac sales doing a little bit better now, you can expect Apple to kind of put iPhones more on the back burner and kind of say, you know what, we could focus on adding some insanely great new feature, or we could just focus on compromising a little bit, making them more affordable, and then just win the masses over and then sell the rest of them services and wearables and accessories, and that's where we're going to make the bulk of our money. As unexciting as that may be, and you may be disappointed to hear that and think, no, I want Apple to push the boundaries, I want Apple to do the impossible and implement new innovative features to the iPhone that we've never seen on any other smartphone before. As cool as that would be, I agree with you, it's simply not going to be possible for the next decade. I truly do believe that smartphone innovation has kind of peaked. Everything we can get out of smartphones has really been implemented already. Everything we can possibly add or engineers can possibly bring to smartphones right now are very, very gimmicky and not things that everyday consumers could warrant upgrading their phone over. So now it's no longer a battle of who can pack the most features in a phone, it's who can pack the most important features in a phone and sell it at the most affordable price point. That's why the XR is selling so well, and Tim Cook even said they saw very strong growth in China, which is their weakest market. If you actually listen to the earnings call where they detail where iPhone is growing, iPhone is still essentially growing in most countries except for China, a lot of which is because of that trade war and because of the heavy competition they face over there between Huawei, Xiaomi, and their blatant ripoffs of iPhone features, whether it be their own software or their own emoji ripoffs. China is a very, very big market, but in the rest of the world, iPhone is seeing pretty decent growth, and I think the bigger, more important announcement is that services growth is likely going to continue. I'm definitely signing up for that Apple Card once it comes out, and that means that Apple's going to have a more reliable, consistent income, more so to that of Google and Facebook, which may do big things, but the bulk of their revenue mostly comes from Google search or Facebook selling ads. The one thing you won't see a lot of YouTubers talk about or headlines talk about is the fact that Samsung reported very, very low numbers, and due to low chip sales has lost an incredibly large amount of their profits this year. But because the Galaxy S10 looks cool and the Note 10 will have a lot of features in it, most people are just going to say Samsung's the best, Samsung's winning the competition, Apple's dead, Note 10 is the iPhone killer, despite the company, when they report their earnings, isn't doing too well. They're not doing great. Anywho, let me know what you guys think of Apple's new Q3 reports. Is there something they're not focusing on or something they could be doing that could help them make a lot more money? All that great stuff. Let me know what you're thinking by hitting me up over on Twitter or joining our Discord. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you guys in the next one.